What's up, gamers? We're back with more Pokemon cards. We just got news just earlier this morning. I didn't get to it until just now. I'm sorry, but there's going to be an EX special set with 3 new EXs: Toad's Cruel, Pawmot, and Houndstone. So we're gonna take a quick look at those, unpack it, see what looks good. Just what we usually do here. So let's get right into it. It will release on May 19th in Japan for 1,800 yen, which I believe is approximately $18 US. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the conversion rate, but it's around 18 to 20. I know that much. 3-card promo pack containing one of 3 evolutionary lines, which will be any of these EXs, with 4 booster packs each of Snow Hazard and Clay Burst for 8 packs total. You can see the picture here. 4 packs, the EX pack with one of these lines. So that will be pretty fun. I hope we get that in US, but it's possible the cards will just be collaborated into our set. So we'll see what happens there. But we got all 3 of them. Starting with Toad's Cruel ES, a grass type with 270 HP, stage 1, so it's a 2-stage evolution. As an ability, you have Protective Charm, prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to all of your Pokemon that have energy attached. I misread that the first time I saw that. That's really good. Because it doesn't say you have to be in the active spot, so this is active on the bench. It also blocks Sableye Lost Mine, because placing damage counters is an effect. It is not part of the damage of the attack. So you're blocking Lost Box with that as long as your Pokemon have energy, which is amazing. And you also block effects like Belly Bolt's Paralysis. Just off the top of my head, effects like that. So it's a really good defensive ability. The fact that it doesn't need to be active and it affects all of your Pokemon with energy is great. You do have to spread your energy out, but that's okay. There's actually a card we can get into. I'm going to talk about it after the attack, which is 2 grass energy. Colony Rush does 80 damage plus 40 for each of your benched Pokemon with grass energy attached. So what you can do here, you have Toad's Cruel in the active spot, right? And on the bench you have a full bench. You have another Toad's Cruel, let's say, to back up attacker. You have a supportive Pokemon. You have whatever, but you also have a not Ferrothorn. I always mix it up. Forretress EX, the Terrestrial one we just got. That's on the bench. You knock it out and attach 5 grass energy from your deck to your bench. You can instantly charge up this Pokemon. You can get energy on the bench. You can attach for turn, and you're doing 240 with 4 bench with energy, I think, if my math is correct, because that's 80 times 3, because 80 base, 4 on the bench. That's pretty good for 2 energy, I will say that. No resistance, 2 retreat. It's a stage 1, it's okay. I like it. I don't know if it's going to see too much play, but the fact that it just completely shuts off Lost Mine with your energy spread out thin enough is nice. So I can see that seeing some use. Maybe not with Forretress, maybe with a different engine, but it looks really interesting, and I'm excited to see what happens there. Moving on to our Electric Rodent Pawmot EX. We've already gotten, I think, 2 Pawmot cards, or maybe 1 with different artworks. Either way, this is another Pawmot. 300 HP, which I think is the lowest on a stage 2 we've seen. I think. I could be wrong there, but for 1 lightning energy, Zap Kick does 60. you're not going to be using that much unless you're hitting for weakness, and even then you don't want to. But for 2, Lightning Strike, you discard the 2 lightning energy from this Pokemon. So if you have 3, you discard down to 1. If you have 4, you discard, and you can still have 2 for next turn, yada yada. But you discard 2 lightning, and then this attack does 220 to one of your opponent's Pokemon, including bench Pokemon. You don't apply weakness and resistance, but that's pretty good. You can just bench snipe a support Pokemon. You can bench snipe a waiting attacker. I like that. It's especially with Electro Generator. You can just... This also has no retreat cost. Zooming in, there's no retreat cost there. So what you can do, you have this in the active, you attack with it, you take a knockout. Next turn, you play Electro Generator, attach 2 lightning energy to another benched Pawmot EX, and just switch them. So that's going to be great. It's like Mew VMAX all over again. Free retreat decks are fun. That's my thoughts on Pawmot. It looks interesting. The fact that you hit for lightning damage is good in the current format of the game, with Lugia still running around. And I think I've still seen some Palkia players, so lightning is good to hit those. You're not gonna do... You can also somewhat get around Arc Duraludon, my bad. Because if I'm remembering correctly, Duraludon's ability, you take less damage from attacks, but I think that only applies in the active spot. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But that sounds fun. We'll see what happens there. But we move on to Houndstone EX. I like ghost types. This is no exception. I'm not a huge fan of Greavard just because it looked like a Litwick is stuck on its head, but Houndstone I really like. A stage 1 psychic type Pokemon in the TCG, because Ghost doesn't exist. 260 HP. For 1 psychic energy, Big Bite does 30 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon cannot retreat, which directly counters this free retreat we were just talking about. Pretty nice. We kind of have like not a rock, paper, scissors relationship, because Toedscruel can block the free retreat, but this shuts down Pawmot's free retreat. Or Toedscruel blocks the can't retreat. My bad. It's interesting to see those, but that's neither here nor there. None of them seem too meta relevant, but they're all interesting and fun. That's the first attack. For the second attack, for 1 psychic and 2 colorless, you can attach a double turbo energy to fulfill that. 160 base damage, plus 10 for each psychic Pokemon in the discard pile. This is just like the normal Greavard, which is, I want to say 80 plus 20. It could be 80 plus 10. Normal Houndstone, my bad. Greavard has 10 plus 10, which is, or it's just 10 times. So this is adding a whole 160 on top of that. So with 4 in the discard, you're hitting 200 flat. It's not going to be too hard to fulfill, especially with cards like Ultra Ball, and other cards that discard. You can stuff the graveyard discard pile full of psychic type Pokemon and charge up this attack. It's going to be great. You do have 3 retreat, but you're also resistant to fighting. So that's something to take note of. Those are the new cards. I like them, to be honest. They're not going to shake up the meta game, in my opinion. The most effective one, because Lost Box is still so rampant, I would say Toedscruel, because you can shut off Sableye, which is the big setup attacker. And that's assuming you're not running into effects like Lost Box Gudra, Lost Box Giratina. Although, I think Giratina's V-Star power shut off, because it doesn't do damage. It has knock out the opposing Pokemon as an effect. So maybe that's blocked. I think it would be. So that's cool. But yeah, those are the cards. I like them. It's that simple. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.